Good morning.
Good morning.
Did he say no? That's kind of exciting anyway. But anyway, a lot of you know that I was on the speaking circuit for quite a while. Trained a lot of salespeople, trained a lot of management people in the ideas of setting goals, being persistent, all that type of thing. And in the commission sales work, and I know a number of you have worked in that, that's like a real estate agent or et cetera, insurance. And you don't learn how to do it like that. It takes time, it takes effort. I just saw Randy. Randy builds big buildings. Would you agree he didn't learn how to do that in a week? Yeah. Okay? I don't know about you, but if I'm going to attend a physician that's going to work on my health, I want them to have gone all the way through up to, and they better have a doctorate, yes? So we all expect this training, and we all know that you have to do things for a certain amount of time to learn how to do them properly. And then we expect life to work automatically for us without doing the things that are necessary. Isn't that exciting? Now, you know what that is? That's a battery that's failing. Okay? So, if we, where is it? It's right there. You know what we could do? We could, yeah, that's it. Okay, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
All right.
Exciting. There's always a reason for everything. But anyway, and in the training area, I was in real estate for a while, worked on insurance, did a lot of that stuff. And I saw a lot of people that could really have the potential quit before they got through their first sale or they had one or two sales. And I knew if they would just stick in, they could become extremely good at what they were doing and earn a really large income. And there wasn't enough stick-to-itness. And the reason I say that is fear and doubt takes over and takes our good away from us, if you understand that. So there's a natural self within each one of us that wants to get out. And sometimes it does things. I'll give you an example. I don't know what happened. I sat down Thursday morning to do the article that you folks got in the newsletter, and I had a whole paragraph, almost half of the article, and all of a sudden it disappeared. Anybody ever had that happen? I mean, whatever I did, I hit the wrong button and it wiped it out. And I tried to reconstruct it, it didn't work. I had to start all over again. And what's interesting about it was the same idea, but it was a whole new article. So somehow, deeply within me, something knew that it needed to be redone. Now, I could have been upset at myself. I could have, anybody familiar with beating yourself up?
Oh, yeah.
But I knew there was a reason for this. So in life, that little part of us, that huge part of us that wants to get out, knows what's better, but we allow the outside world to cover it up. So again, the idea behind this whole thing is the kingdom of heaven is within, which is what Jesus said. And way back in Genesis, or way in the beginning of Genesis, it says we're created in the image and likeness of God, or the supreme being, or divinity. So what does that mean? That means that we are divinity in expression. So that little twinge of I could do better, I know it could be better, or what could I have done? Anybody, and I've seen lots of people, including me, give up before a major breakthrough occurred if I had stayed with it. Now it's only conjecture, and I could feel regret. Anybody familiar with regret? And see, these are all things that deal with us in life. The idea came up, it was interesting, I used it in the article, because we used to have hamsters. Anybody else have hamsters? The kids, we had to have hamsters. And those hamsters would run in that wheel forever and ever, getting nowhere. Okay, and what I realized is we are on a hamster wheel of life. We really are. And we're always running, trying to look better, feel better, overcome our fears, look cool, whatever it is. And that hamster wheel keeps going. And my belief is our ego keeps driving us to be better because the ego keeps saying we're not good enough. We all have a root belief in our life. And some of those root beliefs are I'm not good enough, life's dangerous, these are all the root beliefs. And some people have a root belief that life is fun, life is joyous, life is wealthy, life is healthy. So what is our root beliefs and how are they expressing in our lives? And Jesus said all I have to do is, he was asked, can you tell somebody that's on the track or on the path? And he said, by their fruits you shall know them. So all I have to do is look at my life. How's my life working? I have, in my family, they'll ask me, how's it working for you, Robert? Okay, it's coming. I don't know. So that these things keep coming to us, but then we look at it and we say, oh, well, I'm not good enough. But the truth is, there's a natural self within each one of us. Valerie in her meditation was talking about we're centered in God. Okay? And the whole idea is, and the idea of unity and what's called the New Thought movement is you're a child of God. And as a child of God, we are one. There's only one mind existent. That mind is everywhere connected. And the language of that mind is love. So when I'm expressing love and dwelling in God, life works. See that, and that's that. We talked about it last week. There's a path on this side, which is the material ego world. There's a path on this side, which is the spiritual love world. Now, what that means is if I'm going to stay in a spiritual path, I have to see the Christ and the oneness in everyone I interact with. Did you hear what I said? Yeah. Everyone. Not that neighbor you don't like because they're a child of God. And I could get into politics. I'm not going to. Maybe I should. But you understand how we're ripping each other apart? And Jesus said, be kind. Okay? And how are we being kind when we rip each other apart? Because if I look at somebody and I see them less than the Christ, what am I doing for myself? The kingdom of heaven is within. The law of attraction says whatever I think I create. So if I am thinking bad about somebody else, what am I creating for myself? Simple process. Now, we I don't know about you, but we have a tendency to get involved in things. When you get on the spiritual path, sometimes there's cul-de-sacs. You make a right turn and get stuck here for a while, and then you make a left turn and get stuck there for a while. We have been through EST and we're Course in Miracles, and now we're involved in Course of Love. And anybody been through Urantia? And there's all these things to do. Tarot, you can get involved in tarot. You can do this, you can do that, you can do that. Past life regressions. If you haven't done that, it's wow, okay, exciting what comes out. What happens between lives? Where are we? See, there's all these questions we can get into, but how do they affect my life here and now? And so it's a simple message. The kingdom of heaven is within. We are one, and the language of oneness is love, and there isn't anything else. So the answer to prosperity is, I'm a child of God. I am divinity, and each one of us is divinity expressing itself. And somehow in my life, there's a program going on here that's holding that part of me back. Okay? Relationships. Anybody agree? Relationships can go this way or that way. But again, that's part of my belief structure that I was inherently had absorbed in my childhood and throughout life. So I've got all these things. A lot. It's like I know we're going to build that church down the road. Okay. Now, how do I know?
Faith, no.
See, we got to use the word faith. So, what do you have faith in? And this is what I've been looking at this week. Number one, I'm amazed how fear runs my life and most people's lives. Mm-hmm. You go out there and the whole news cycle is fear. Mm-hmm. Why in the world are people so excited about seeing horror movies? Mm-hmm. It's because the fear generates chemicals, literally chemicals in the body that give them a high, okay? Now, am I saying this right now? I'm just saying that's what happens physically. So why in the world are we everything we do is fear. You gotta be careful, don't do this, don't do that. And we want to look cool, gotta wear a tie, gotta do this, gotta do that. So again, we're working with the rules of society rather than listening to our natural self. Now, do we have to comply with society? Yeah. As a matter of fact, we drive on the right side of the road. Okay? Why? Because it makes things work. Has anybody here ever been in England or Australia and driven there? Isn't it exciting? It really is. I can remember, honestly, we were in in Australia, and we were going from Surfers Paradise down to Coffs Harbour. And I had rented a car, and I was driving on the left side of the road. And a huge tractor trailer came this way, and Madeline dove. Remember that? It was funny, it really was. Why? Because it wasn't the pattern we were used to. So we get so used to patterns in our life, working with patterns, and we react to patterns. Now, where do the patterns come from? Other people and those around us. So if other people are going to influence us, their influence is other people. So we're all influencing other, and you're good and you're not, and there's all these decisions. And Jesus is telling us we are one. The language of oneness is love, and there isn't anything else. And when I look at you, when I look at a homeless person, what I look for is the Christ in them, knowing that they are capable, not that they are broken. Everybody there? So we are perpetuating this conversation of not enough, victimhood, et cetera, et cetera. And I believe that's why I'm so excited about this community of spiritual beings. And I'm excited about Centering Prayer Class, because the more of us that get on this silent meditation and dwell in the silence, the more spiritual power we have. Because it's accumulated, okay? It works. It doubles and triples, I don't know, it just does more, okay? So, I'm away. I better look at my notes, okay? The main thing is it takes time to be a master at something. Some of you have been, I was in martial arts for a while, and it always used to amaze me, these people that could do this stuff, okay? And they had been at it 10, 12, 15, 20 years. Some of you are in very highly skilled jobs. It's taken you years to learn what you're doing. Air conditioning, right? You don't do it just overnight. Matter of fact, you got to stay up to date with what's going on. So we've got all these skills out there, and how do we be effective as a human being? Anybody seen a class on that lately? How do we make a difference in life? Okay, and this is where it is. Now, I'm a great believer that we know. Everybody there? Because you ever heard the word conscience? In other words, we know what's right and what's wrong, because the Spirit within us lets us know. Okay, and we don't listen to it, or we're too busy, or we don't, I'm tired, don't feel like doing that. Okay, I admit to doing that. And so we don't listen to that still little voice. But within us is the potential for everything. The kingdom of heaven is within. This week I used in the article, I used the quote from Paul in Colossians 1:27. By the way, there's all kinds of truths in the Bible. Anybody ever notice that? It's amazing when you bring it in and interpret it. Okay, but anyway, Colossians 1:26 and 1:27. Okay, 1:26, it starts talking about even the mystery which hath been hidden from ages and from generations is available. And then it goes on to say, it is Christ in you, the hope of glory. So Christ is that place within each one of us where God is. And we know that because you ever seen, this is a little morbid, but have you ever seen a body after the spirit is gone? They're not there. It's literally almost just clay. Okay? And if you're ever around when somebody leaves, it's clear, they're gone. You can almost feel it leave. So we talk about this great mystery of life, and the mystery people are looking for is, how do I make life work? How do I live happily? How do I make life work? How do I have good relations? How do I have good health? How do I have prosperity? And here it is. The key is God in you, your hope of glory, or Christ in you. So your hope of glory, and by the way, glory in the Revealing Word, which is Charles Fillmore's dictionary, he has two of them, the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary and the Revealing Word. It says that glory is the combination of God, mind, and man's mind, or man, human, subjugating themselves to the mind of God. Now, do you hear the word subjugation? Anybody define it? Surrendering. And what do we not like to do? Surrender. Don't tell me. I'm going to do it my way. Good luck. And if I do that long enough and it doesn't work, sooner or later I have to say, okay, I quit. And that's, I'm working on that one. Because it's kind of like, where are we going? What are we doing? What is happening in our lives? And there's our lives working. And so I keep going back, what do we talk about on Sunday? And I look at that. We could be talking about prosperity. We could be talking about relationships. We do a healing class. By the way, I'm talking about doing Monday night healing again, but we got to get together on that because we're closer now. But there's all these things we can do that are part of the overall process. But until we really get that I'm a child of God, you're a child of God, and that these are things that are in our kingdom, the kingdom is within, that's the step that makes everything work. I really do. The folks are still working with practical metaphysics. Are you halfway yet? Mm-hmm. Are you good? Okay.
About 3/4 of the way.
3/4 of the way. Wow. Okay. So, now I read this before, but I'm going to read it again. You ready? Your need is simply to get your consciousness centered in God. So that means I think, I live, I'm in the consciousness of God. Okay, that's one of the reasons that centering prayer is so powerful. The whole idea behind centering prayer is 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening. I take 20 minutes and I learn to still my mind and be in the presence of God. And all I do is thank God for 20 minutes. Now that's a challenge. Anybody ever try to slow their mind down and stop it? Okay, because the monkey mind goes 100 miles an hour. But it's like a master at whatever. Could be a master at archery, could be a master at jiu-jitsu, could be a master salesperson. They learn the techniques and skills over a period of time in order to function this way. So, what would be a good skill to learn? Be still and know that I am God, which is a famous quote in the Bible, in the Psalms. So, that's what we're talking about in centering prayer, and that's one of the issues in the spiritual path. So it goes on, it says, centered in the realization, okay, consciousness is centered in God, is centered in the realization that the whole universe believes in you. This is how powerful you are. The whole universe is out there, and you are actually part of the whole universe. Again, I ask occasionally, can you just take a minute and imagine yourself not existing? Okay, would you agree? That's almost an impossibility, but yet that's what a lot of people think, that I'm here for a while and then I don't exist. So there's got to be an eternal process in this whole thing, and where is that? Now, this is faith, okay? And how do you learn faith? By doing it, okay? In other words, faith is belief in things not seen nor understood. It's just knowing that something's going to happen. Why? Because I'm a child of God. It's like that building. Why do I know it's going to happen? Because I know it's going to happen. And it's that simple. Now, can I prove it empirically, scientifically? No. Okay? And do I have to? No. Do you see? It's that level of faith that makes the difference. And that's what we're talking about here. How does life work? Life works out of faith and trust, knowing that I am a child of God, and as a child of God, I am the center of the universe. Very interesting conversation. I'm going to go on. You ready? Then it says, the whole universe is flowing into and through you. So everybody take a breath and let it out. That's how the universe is flowing through you. You see, there's an energy for good in the universe. You can call it God, divinity, whatever I had a good friend that used to call it George. You've heard that story, okay? But yet there's an energy that flows through you, and part of our job is to bring that energy into the world around us. That's why we're here. Part of our job as divine beings is to be here to bring God's energy into the world around us through our thoughts and through our actions. So how do things happen in the world? People do things, yes? And that's why we're here, to bring our creativity into the world around us. And we could sell something, we could make a difference, we could do all kinds of things. Some of you, just to go see your mother who's in a home, or whatever it is, we are participating in the universal energy, and in that energy is God, because we're expressing that. When you express love in any form, are you expressing God? Yes. So what's our job? We're here to make a difference. So the difference is expressing love. Okay? So it goes on. Then it says, your need is to accept it. So I'm thinking about the word choose. You ready? So I choose what? See, I can choose what I'm thinking right now. And I can choose what I'm going to do this afternoon. I can choose what I'm going to do tomorrow. I can choose what I'm going to do next week. And what am I choosing from? Okay? And what am I deciding to do? And do you understand what I choose to do is based on my personal self-image of who I really am? And who are you really? Child of God. Created in the image, after likeness, and expression of God. So what would God do next week? It's almost that simple. It's almost that simple. Okay, let me go on. Now it says, accept it, to let it happen, and to let yourself be directed out of that consciousness in a, ready for this, in a faith-believing attitude. Did you ever have the thought, that's too much? Don't get your hopes up, don't expect too much. But God is saying, through the word desire, God is saying, here it is. Okay, and it's our job to accept it and choose to participate and do what's necessary. And that requires a spiritual path. Hanging out on Sundays. It was funny, I went over for, those of you know, Sunday morning we come in and Sue helps me set up, and we, and then I go to breakfast at McDonald's. Excuse me, Mickey D's restaurant. Okay? And it was real interesting. The lady stopped me, and not everybody sits at McDonald's in a suit and tie. So she said, what do you do? I said, well, I'm a minister. Okay? She said, oh, I know a lot of pastors, but I don't go to church. And it was interesting to me. She said, I probably should. And it was interesting for me that she felt guilty about why would she share it with me? But it's not being in church. It's being with people like minds. It's being around people that want to make a difference. It's being around people that want to express love. And it's a big difference. Okay, I love hanging out with you folks. That's why we do classes, by the way, during the week, so you can come visit with us. But anyway, the whole idea behind it is, what choices are we making, and I'm really going to stretch, how big a dream can you make? And then choose to do something with it. So each one of us here is to do something. Our natural self wants us to come out and do it. And the ego fear is saying, too big, you're not good enough. You don't have an education, you're too old, you're too fat, whatever it is. And the ego makes up all these stories and then we barf it out. Okay? So all I'm doing is sharing, and I'm talking to myself, everybody get it? Big time, because I can't tell you how many times I have stopped because of fear. But I know we're going to build a church, I know this church is building, and I know that God loves all of you without any conditions. One last phrase. Consciousness in a faith-believing attitude. To know you're a spiritual being and so armed with this believing attitude that you can do anything you desire in life. So, I guess there's not too much else to say. What there is God loves you, God loves me, God loves each one of us. We are here to do something, whatever that is. And I'm asking that we together as a community really work on allowing whoever that is to come out. And be that person that we were born into this life to become. So I love you dearly, and whatever's happening, we are one. And I love you and everybody else. Blessings. Thank you.